Much, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I'd like to note is that the discussion draft amending Section 913 of the Dodd-Frank Act that I've circulated is just that, a draft. And I appreciate the opportunity to have it included in this hearing to receive all of the proper input. The draft is intended to address what has become one of the biggest issues facing retail investors today. I guess this has simply become known as the fiduciary issue. And what we have is two different federal agencies, the SEC and the Department of Labor, heading towards a separate and massive rulemaking that could fundamentally change the way in which families and investors choose financial products and services, and not necessarily for the better. Today we will focus on the SEC. In January 2011, the SEC proposed adopting a, quote, uniform fiduciary standard for brokers and advisors in their dealings with retail customers. While the SEC claimed this proposal would better protect investors, the agency failed to provide any evidence to support such a claim, and in fact failed to provide any data or evidence showing that retail customers were being harmed or disadvantaged under current standards of conduct. The SEC Commissioner Paredes and then Commissioner Casey said in a joint statement the study failed to, quote, justify its recommendation that the Commission embark on fundamentally changing the regulatory regime for the broker-dealers and investment advisors. And even though investor confusion surrounding standards of care was the main rationale behind the study's recommendation, Paredes and Casey went on to say that the uniform standard, quote, may in fact create new sources of confusion for investors. So it seems to me that we have a solution in desperate search of a problem. And the solution could end up harming investors more than helping them. The draft that I have circulated is meant to address the shortcomings of the SEC's proposal and to ensure that regulators do not lose focus on the fact that at the end of the day, it is everyday Americans that are harmed most when federal agencies regulate without justification. I hate to break it, but it's not the ultra-wealthy or the 1% that are most affected by all of this. It is the new dad looking to buy life insurance so he can sleep better at night, or the mom looking to set up an education account for her child but gets turned away because she's told that she's not sufficiently wealthy, or the grandfather who has fewer choices when deciding how to pass on wealth to his grandchildren. You don't protect investors by simply restricting their choices and adopting a one-size-fits-all regulatory regime. In fact, I would submit that this does more harm than good. The draft legislation would improve the regulatory process by requiring the SEC to identify whether investors are being harmed or disadvantaged under current standards of care, and also require the SEC to conduct a rigorous cost-benefit of any potential rule. In addition, the SEC would be required to verify that any final rule would actually reduce, I underscore, reduce investor confusion. I think we can all agree that the SEC shouldn't make the problem worse. I thank the chairman for the time, and I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today on this very important matter, and I yield back my time.
Thank you. And before we get to the witness